Hello everybody, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We're painting another birthday card tutorial. This was inspired by a photo that I saw by Label 160. I'll include them in the description as I do. And it's just this beautiful cake. I don't even think it's watercolor. I think it's digitalized. It's hard to really tell by the picture, but I thought I would try painting it. So I'm using my new palette, which I've mentioned in quite a few videos now, but I really like the opacity of these colors are remarkable, and I will include the link in the description if you want to purchase them for yourself. There's a video where I paint an abstract field where I kind of use this palette for the first time, and I really go over my thoughts on it in that video if you're interested, but I'm really impressed with this palette. So if you're interested in a really nice palette with very opaque colors, then I recommend this one. I haven't tried too many, so obviously my opinion is not necessarily the best one to go off of, but I really like it. So use my link, it'll give me some commission, I'm assuming. I think I'm painting all these videos at once, so I said in one of the first videos that I still have to look into whether there even is a link, and I'm pretty sure there is. So, in which I get a little bit of commission every time someone makes a purchase using that link. But anyways, so here I'm just starting off. I'm using sort of like a salmon pink, and I'm painting the base, or like one of the base layers of this cake. And I just switched to a smaller brush just so I could square off the edges a little bit easier. So I don't know if I said this, but we are painting a cake. So, and then it looks like the bottom has a little bit of, I think it's black, but just a darker color. It's probably because it's shaded. Okay. I'm gonna go in a little closer. So that's our first layer. It doesn't have to be very, precise or whatnot. I'm gonna paint the second layer, which is going to be like a chocolatey, there's almost a little bit of purple in there. So I mentioned this in a previous video, but this palette, in contrast to the one that I used previously, the colors are a little bit different. They look different when you wet them. You have to wet them to see what the true color is going to look like, which is okay, but it just, that's one of the things I don't like about it. The color wet in the half pan is different than dry. Obviously it's the same when you paint it on your piece of paper, like you don't have to worry about that. It won't dry a different color, but it's something that I'm not used to. It's not necessarily a bad thing. And the other thing I didn't like about it is that it doesn't have this metal blank metal space where you can mix colors. So I do have to have my old palette out with the metal mixing tray so that I could mix the colors that I want. But I would say that's a small little sacrifice to pay for like really good quality beginner. I would still say that, I don't know, I don't have experience with materials. Like I tend to, when I discover something and it's decent enough for me, I just stick with it. I don't like experimenting too much with different materials. So I don't know if this is beginner, if these are expert level colors. I don't know. But they are certainly better than what I was using for 3 years prior. So that says a lot. Like every video prior to like the last 2 or 3, depending on what order I release them, have been used with my old, like I used my old palette, the same palette, for 3 years. And it was a cheap $30 palette off of Amazon. So if I can make that work for 3 years, then it can't be that bad quality, right? Oh, I don't know if that was on camera. I'm sorry if that wasn't. Okay, so, and I should have said that I left a nice gap here because we're going to be filling that in with like icing, I guess you could call it. But I'm just using a variety of color. Ooh, that is a really nice blue that I've kind of turned into a purple. Not intentionally. It's a little bit too blue for what I wanted. There's so many color choices here that it's almost too much. Like people have all these really fancy schmancy colors in their palettes, and you really don't need all those colors. You just need the basic ones. Like I worked with 3, 6, 9, 12. I worked with 24 colors and I only used half of them regularly, like 12 colors for 3 years for all my tutorials. So, and I think it's better for you as an artist to even just learn that way, because you learn about color mixing, you learn what goes well together. Like if you don't have a certain shade or you don't have a particular intensity of a color, you know exactly what to mix together to achieve what you're looking for. It makes you a better artist. This palette that I'm using, this new one, has 100 colors. And at times it's a little overwhelming because I literally have like 12 shades of blue at least to choose from. Whereas in my old palette, I only had, I think, four blues, and I only used 2 of them regularly. So anyway, that's just my opinion. You can do whatever you want. So I'm making the left side of each layer darker. That's where I'm trying to concentrate the shadow. And I can also help achieve that by lifting some paint off like I just did. Okay, this last layer is very similar to that bottom layer. It's more of a magenta. Like, see, same thing. I have so many pinks to choose from. Whoa, that's like a highlighter color. I think I might actually use the swatch thing that came with this just for fun. because there are so many colors in this palette. And there's like this, the other half, you can't see it on the camera right now, but the other half, I would say, I don't know, like 40 colors are metallic. It's hard to say, but I have quite a few metallic colors that I'm excited to try out as well. And I will eventually, for a tutorial that I plan to release. It'll either be shortly after this one or shortly before this one. So I'm going to try the metallic ones out for that one, but that is really cool. And there's also neon ones, like a really, really neat palette. But I might just be very easily impressed. So this last layer, I'm sorry, I keep going off screen. This last layer I'm making thicker than all the others. So that is good there, and I just want to add that shadow like I did with the previous view. And I'm going to lift some off as well. Okay. So the true test of the opacity of these colors is going to come shortly, because I'm going to do something that I never do, or I shouldn't say never, I don't think I've ever done it with my previous palette, and that is paint lighter colors over top of existing colors that are darker than them. So we'll see if they show through, but first we have to let this dry before we can do that. In the meantime, while that is drying, I think I'm going to paint on the candles of this birthday cake. So they're going to be like a creamy gray. Again, so many colors to choose from that I don't even know what to choose. This looks creamy. Ooh, I wonder what the opacity of the white is. That would be pretty neat to try out. So I'm mixing like a gray with a cream here. Oh, it's lighter than that. There's like a little bit of yellow in there as well. Let's pick up some of this white and see what it does. Okay. So we'll start with the middle candle. And what I'm going to do is take another paintbrush that just has water and just fade out that color. I think I had pink on this paintbrush because that's what is coming through. This, using two paintbrushes, just prevents you from constantly having to rinse a brush, pick up more of the same color, you know, that sort of thing. It just makes the process faster and you waste less paint. So that looks absolutely nothing like my reference, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna pick up gray and just run it on the one side of all these. Oh, something like that. Not really what I was going for. But what can you do? Okay. I also need to paint on the flames of these guys. So what I'm gonna do is take orange, like a yellowish orange, and that's going to be kind of the bulk of the flame. I'm gonna try to do like 2 at a time here. And then that is going to fade into a really nice bright yellow. And then we're going to have red on the bottom, but that is way too intense of a red. Again, did I mention that these are very opaque paints? So I'm just rinsing my brush with water and trying to blend out that red to make it a little more natural looking. Because it just went crazy on this one. I would say there's even like a little bit of brown or black at the bottom of the flame. Anyway, you can play with that until you're happy with the flame. I think I'm focusing a little bit too much on details that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Like my flames look very exaggerated. I'm going to try a slightly different technique for these next 3, partly out of laziness. There are a lot of different ways to paint candle flames. Maybe that's another tutorial that I should try out. Flame or fire. So you just saw a few different ways of painting these flames. Try whatever speaks to you, whatever works to you, for you. I would have also, in hindsight, made these all different sizes. It probably would have looked nicer. I'm going to zoom out a bit so you can see the bigger picture. I am going to go in again and try and create a nicer shadow on these candles again. Whatever, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Kind of tired of dealing with that. But what I'm gonna do now is paint in the cake batter in between. So I'm gonna take like a nude, I'm gonna mix it with like a sandy color maybe. Or you can just water down brown. I'm gonna actually add some brown to make my sand a little bit darker. And what we're gonna do is fill in all these gaps. So in hindsight, what you could have done is painted them first and then gone over the sandy colored bits with the colored bits, with the colored layers, I mean. But this works too. Besides, this is a birthday card, not a Picasso. Okay. The other thing you can do is just going along the theme of all of these other ones is make this side a little bit darker. So it looks like it's a bit of a shadow. If you wish. But this little cake is starting to come together. So what I want to try now, this is what I was talking about earlier, let's see, like this is going to be the true test of these watercolors, because this is typically something that you can only do with gouache and above, I would say, is paint lighter colors on top of already painted darker colors. So I'm gonna grab white and like a pink to tint the white. And we are going to see if we can paint on top of this dried portion. See if it'll show through. So let's see. Oh, so far so good. Wow, I am impressed. This is just regular watercolor, guys. This is not gouache. I think I said gouache before. I actually used to say gouache all the time because I had never actually heard anyone pronounce it. And then someone corrected me. I was appreciative of that. Otherwise, I would have been saying gouache. But I'm very impressed with this. This pan, what am I trying to say? These watercolors already had my stamp of approval, but now it's like on another level. That I can paint with lighter colors on top of darker watercolors. That's amazing. And the best way to achieve that is having very little water on your brush. You want mostly pigment, not as much water. Anyway, that's looking very, very nice. I don't care if I sound boastful. Okay, very nice. We will move on to this guy, this darker one. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep using the same like white pink combination for that one. And this one is just going to be little dots like that. Getting kind of lazy there at the end. But you get the picture. So that looks quite nice, I would say. Now, in the reference photo that I'm looking at, this person has intentionally in black fine tip marker like scribbled all around all of these, which looks really nice because I'm not really sure if she used watercolor or not, or if this is digital. It's kind of hard to tell, and I'm debating whether I want to do that. I don't know what I did here. Let's see if I can fix this and this and this. There we go. Okay. I think I'm gonna go for it because what's life without a little bit of excitement and risk? So she seems to have gone around all of these, but in a very abstract way. So the intention is not to follow it exactly like that. Oh, and then I'm just gonna add the little wicks as well. I kind of forgot about those. And then she went around each. Hers is much more scribbly. And it looks really good. Like hers, the scribbliness on hers, but I don't really want to go that route. I just realized that I got paint on my marker and now it's not really drawing. There we go. So that looks not too bad, I would say. You can always go over it again if you want like an even more scribbly look. Like this. I'm glad I did that. It makes it look more homemade and authentic. Oh, I forgot the flames. There we go. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Let me know what you guys think. Would you have done the scribbles? Would you left them out? And if you do end up purchasing this watercolor set for yourself, let me know if this is, or like, is this new to you that you can paint lighter watercolors on top of darker? Because this is the first time I've been able to do that with a set of watercolors. So big kudos goes to these watercolors. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next tutorial.